It's a new round of SOT. John, hear you there. Thanks for coming by, as you always do. And thanks for starting your day with us with the AM. Thanks for hanging out with us with SOT and the PM on your Mondays. The rundown PM-wise on the week is this. And what is that? What is going on here? No, that is not what I'm trying to do. Yeah, okay. So I'd like to watch that particular thing. So there, much better. Okay. Here's the rundown for the week. We got SDHAM all morning, all week long. Then we've got tomorrow night, 6:30, I think, is the updated start time. It's just one match since a lot of the schools here in the state of Georgia are on spring break. Westminster visiting Johnson Gainesville will be up there in the dungeon at 6:25-ish, and match time is 6:30. We'll be up there for that one. Then we will come back on Friday with a match that we're trying to get secured, and that'll be a doubleheader. And trying to look at these non-region games because we have the sum total of 10 days left in the regular season when it comes to the GHSA. So what we're going to do, we're going to have games this week, going to have games next week, then we're going to hit the playoffs. And we'll let you know, obviously, when the playoff matchups are going on. We do have some brackets that are filled out. Obviously, you have some regions that are locked in. The ones that are dealing with power rankings, it'll be a bit of a stretch to tell you what's going on there right now. But as things get closer in a lot of the other classifications, we'll let you know what's going on. But, yeah, we'll have full coverage. And Red Clay Wednesday will be on at noon. We're going to catch up with Scott New, the head coach at Carrollton. We are efforting another couple of coaches that will come and hang out with us. Remember, when we get to the postseason, Red Clay is daily. Any day that there is a playoff, there's something going on, we will catch up with you on the playoff side of things, and we'll break that down for you there. So that is the high school rundown. So action tomorrow from Johnson Gainesville, Westminster Johnson Gainesville, boys only, 6:30 kick. Efforting the doubleheader for Friday. We know where we want to go. We're just trying to get the machinations all squared away, and that's a doubleheader. I think it's 5:30, 7:30 on Friday night from this particular school, but we'll keep you posted on that one. SDHAM across the board. Tomorrow, Casey White's going to join us. 10 o'clock, we'll go over her week, and she spent some extra time in Salt Lake City and got to see the Utah Royals in the NWSL. She also got to see the matchup that she called with Christian Miles, and it was Sporting Kansas City and Real Salt Lake. So we'll go over her assignment in Major League Soccer, talk a little bit about NWSL, and we'll go over the rest of the week in both of those leagues in and around her visit at 10 o'clock. So we're going to have a lot of sound and highlights and fury and all the things that are attached to all of that. And that'll be tomorrow on SDHAM. Efforting the other guests. I was trying to figure out where my guest list was. We're going to have the SVP of the Canadian Premier League, and it's going to be a big visit for Costa Smirniotis because they have unleashed a lot of different trials and ideas in the Canadian Premier League when it comes to on-field presentation. So we're going to catch up with him at 10:30 on Wednesday after Dylan Butler. So Wall Pass Wednesday, we're going to catch you up on everything that happens that we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. Morning, D. Graham. Evening, D. Graham. Whatever time of day it is. D. Graham, hello. Then we're going to get into all of those previews tonight, get you ready tomorrow. We'll talk about updates tomorrow as well. And we'll lay out everything CONCACAF, lay out everything in Champions League, all of the things. Do it here tonight to get you ready for tomorrow. If we've got time, we'll talk about it again tomorrow with updated news and things and all that sort. So that'll be what's on Wednesday. Costa Smirniotis joining us at 10:30 to talk about all the trials going on in the Canadian Premier League. Dylan Butler at 10. Review preview in hour number 1. Thursday, it's going to be Max Anderson, the play-by-play voice for Chicago Fire. He's going to join us at 9:30. Then it's going to be the Power Hour with Nino and Nico. And then we'll catch up with our friends at Apple TV and Beyond Goals Mentoring, and we'll let you know what's going on there on Friday. We'll get you ready for the weekend that will be across all the platforms, strata, and footprint. So that's the week. So tonight, So a lot of stuff to get into. We've got to get into FA Cup. And this is also stuff that we purposely didn't get into this morning because we had a lot of folks that were understandably disappointed about and mad about Atlanta United. So we kind of held off on all of the overseas stuff. We've got to get into FA Cup. We've got to get into what's going on possibly in Brazil and what's being discussed there. In England, you have it coming down to cases when it comes to promotion, relegation, and who's in the hunt for the promotion playoffs, all those things. We'll get into that here in hour number one. We do have a John Texter update. We can kind of get into it a little bit here. We might save most of it for tomorrow, considering it's Atlanta United based. BBC had a study out on the championship of the EFL and how it is hemorrhaging money. We'll get into that here in this hour. And we had the LPF basically in downpours going on while we were getting ready here to come on. You've also got Libertadores and Sudamericana. We've got all of that. If you've missed the Soccer Metrics, a couple of Libertadores show that's on the network, set your notifications, and you'll know when the fresh one is up. It's the round of 48. You got 48 teams left in Libertadores. So we'll have all of that for you coming up here in a bit. All right. So on the weekend, it was very, very busy stuff. And you had the FA Cup work its way through. And now the questions continue about Arne Slot and Liverpool. Like I said, I had figured that since they had the really awful start and they lost, what was it, 6 of 7 in all comps, that it was going to be his regardless. And it has been his regardless. Erling Haaland gets a hat trick. Manchester City wins at 4-0. And now everybody's sitting there going, well, what's his future? And now there are reports. And like I said, reports are like T-shirts in my wardrobe. There's a crap ton of them. You know, is he going to survive the year? Yes, he's going to survive the year, I think, at this point. I think that if they didn't fire him when he lost 6 of 7, I thought he was going to kind of make it all the way through, regardless of what, because they did turn it around. And you're just having bad losses at the worst possible time. So Liverpool's out of the FA Cup. Manchester City wins at 4-0. They were the minus 132. Chelsea put 4 on Port Vale, 3 on Port Vale in the first half, put 4 more on them in the second half. And if Port Vale was in the FA Cup, they would have won the big $50,000 check. But Port Vale, lowest division team to last the longest. And then they were a plus 3,000 to get the outright win. Chelsea won at 7-0. And Chelsea is hooting and hollering because they've made it to the next round. Players are also apparently going to the front office and to head coach Liam Rosenior, and they're asking him, hey, yo, because this Manchester City game is as important as it is, can you rescind the suspension that he's currently on? And right now, Rosenior is standing pat. We'll see if his mind changes heading into the upcoming weekend in that match. But no budging so far from Liam Rosenior, and you are getting to the point where players aren't happy with him. Front office seems to be okay with him at the moment. But right now, Rosenior isn't winning any friends or influencing any people. And Chelsea beats Port Vale. They should have. Beat them by 7. Don't know if they should have. But they got the big result. Even larger result was Southampton knocking off Arsenal at a plus 600 at St. Mary's. That one was at the Stadium of Light. That one was 2-1. And now everybody's wondering if Arsenal is on the ropes for everything. So we'll find out about that. Once again, a plus 600, you lose 2-1 late. And now everyone around Arsenal is gripping. I don't quite see Mikel Arteta gripping, but nevertheless. West Ham and Leeds went to penalties. Leeds won that one in penalties officially 3-2, 2-2 after 90 and after 120. And you end up going to PKs. Leeds gets the win at a plus 212. You had a plus 229. Leeds gets the win. Plus 229 for the 90-minute draw. And so the draw now, Chelsea leads Manchester City and Southampton. Who knew that Manchester City would be getting Southampton of those 4 teams? Who knew? So Manchester City on April 25th is when the semifinals of the FA Cup are. And it is Manchester City at a minus 385 going up against Southampton at a plus 1100. Chelsea and Leeds, both matches happening at 10 o'clock in the morning, by the way. And Chelsea and Leeds, Chelsea favored at a minus 143, and Leeds is a plus 425. Your 90-minute draw in that one right now is a plus 280. But, of course, once again, we're 19 days out. Anything's possible between now and then. And so that's your semifinals in the FA Cup, and now you're going to get back into the playing of actual league matches coming up this weekend. Mikel Arteta, by the way, and David Raya are urging Arsenal to feed off of cup losses, use that fuel of being excited under pressure, and they're also staring at Sporting and Champions League as a part of that. In the other divisions in England, Coventry had a frustrating day with Hull, and it was basically a goalless draw, but Coventry is still 12 points clear of the rest of the pack. Millwall and Middlesbrough did not gain any kind of advantage on the day. Goalless draw with Hull, so Coventry remains where they are in the standings. Everyone else is chasing them. And you do have action across the footprint in England tomorrow. Wrexham is even money with Southampton. So, as a matter of fact, that's probably going to be part of Picks of the Week now that I mention it. 3 o'clock tomorrow, Wrexham and Southampton. But in the results today, because today was something called Easter Monday, and I didn't know that Easter Monday actually existed. But Easter Monday exists. And so because of that, you had matches that were going on in a lot of divisions today. And it was, trying to figure out where in the wide world of sports folks were and trying to, launch out and go, okay, so who's playing today and who's doing what? So we found out today that there were games going on and that Paramount Plus was being very, very moody for me. So it was a full day in the championship for the grid to happen. Once again, we mentioned Hull and Coventry. Nothing happened there. Goalless draw. It was a frustrating back and forth 90 minutes in the overall. The early matches, Portsmouth, who needs help right now in the bottom of the table, they did not get a whole lot of help from Oxford United. And so Ipswich right now in control in their part of the promotion race. Millwall slipped up. Borough fell. Ipswich took advantage. And so right now your top 4, Ipswich with 2 matches in hand, by the way. And Ipswich right now is at 72 points, the same as Middlesbrough and Millwall. But Middlesbrough and Millwall right now, the 3 and the 4 currently in the standings, they are at 72 points in 41 matches. Ipswich with 2 matches in hand at 72, and they also have a better goal difference. Coventry is 12 points clear of the pack with 5 matches to go. Norwich beat Millwall 2-1. Ipswich over Birmingham 2-1, and there was a late equalizer that was pulled back that seems to have caused a lot of great angst and anger amongst the Birmingham City community. So should have been 2-2 in their eyes, was not by the end of it all. 2-1 Ipswich gets the win in a final. Swansea tied Middlesbrough 2-2, and that kind of held them back when it came to any kind of push toward the top of the table. And Derby County, once again, they beat Stoke 2-0. Right now, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Southampton is in the driver's seat right now with the 5, 6, 7, and 8. Hull is at 68 points. You've got a handful of teams chasing after the 6, which is currently Wrexham. Wrexham is 40 matches played, 64 points. Derby has only 4 matches to go. They're at 63. Southampton has a match in hand on Wrexham. They're at 63, and they have a superior goal difference. So that's your 5, 6, 7, and 8. Derby with a win on Stoke. Wrexham and Southampton playing tomorrow. So I guess if Wrexham is going to keep an eye on things, Phil Parkinson might have them Parkinson the bus. It's at the Racehorse Ground, and that's going to be the marquee game tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock. So right now, then you look at the bottom, and that's where the fun starts. We mentioned the activity in the relegation race. Goals, goals, goals. Thank you. Welcome to the night show, by the way. We do this every Monday from this hour until 10 o'clock Eastern. We try to be out at 10 o'clock Eastern, but sometimes if we're learning entirely too much, then we end up going into added time. But welcome to Studio HD. Don't be a stranger. Thanks for coming in here. Morning show, 9:05 a.m. Eastern time till 11:05. We usually go long, and we have a bunch of guests and everything. But welcome. Glad you're here. Yes, goals cubed. It is 12:16 in the early morning, so you just turned midnight. So do not be a stranger. And so yeah, you've come into the conversation having to do with the EFL and the pyramid. So hang with us for a bit. Portsmouth and Oxford United. Once again, Portsmouth right now is out of the relegation zone in the championship. And they also have a match in hand with all 6 teams around them. Charlton right now, 49 points in 18th. Blackburn is at 47 points in 19th. West Brom, George Campbell, 45 points. They are in 20th. Then the fun starts. 3 teams, 2 spots. Portsmouth right now out of the relegation zone. They're at 42 points. They also, once again, have the match in hand. Relegation zone currently is Leicester, who have the points deduction to take them to 41 points. And they have the best goal difference of themselves, Portsmouth and Oxford United. Oxford United, 41 matches, 41 points. Sheffield Wednesday, by the way, drew Leicester for yet another point on the season. They're now at -5. And Sheffield Wednesday has won once in 41 matches. Complete also with the points deduction that they started the season with. So right now, 3 teams, 2 spots, relegation zone, championship. Portsmouth is out of it right now at 42. Leicester is in right now, -9 goal difference at 41. Oxford United, -15 in goal difference, 41. Sheffield Wednesday, -5. They're going down. My favorite scarf? Wow. Goals, you ask me a question. I love all of my children equally. They are here because of various and different reasons. And since goals, the way that this works, goals cubed, hat trick. What we found out when the boss was piecing together the studio space is we have it's not really a furniture store, but it's kind of like a furniture store, Pier 1 Imports. And you can go to Pier 1 and you get shower racks you get towel racks. And she found triple layered towel racks. And they work, you just hang them from the back sides of the door, and that's what we have here. 3 levels on this rack, 3 levels on the rack over my shoulder, and all of these mean different things for different people. Let me get through the pyramid, and we'll get into your question. Well, good night. Well, then goals cubed. Okay, they all mean something different to me, and they're all important. And so, thanks for dropping in. Don't be a stranger. Go to bed. 12-19 in England, and goals visits. We thank you for that. So 3 teams, and it's 2 spots right now in the relegation fight for what's going on in the championship. League One had a moment today. Lincoln City, after beating Reading 2-1 with a goal at 90+6, promoted to the championship for the first time in 65 years. We might run that tomorrow as opening kickoff. Runaway leaders in League One, 5 games to spare. 2-1 win at Reading. They were playing in the non-league a couple of years ago. Michael Scubala's side, first EFL team to earn promotion this year. Jack Moylan with the stoppage time winner. Earned promotion to League Two in 2017. They were non-league just 9 years ago. Promotion to League Two in 2017, League One 2019, playing in the championship for the first time since 1961. And the first team in EFL to earn promotion this year, stoppage time win. Won 27 matches in League One, only taking more victories during an EFL campaign in 75-76 and 51-52. So they needed just 1 point to return. They sent almost 2,900 fans to Reading to watch this one, previously unbeaten at home in their last 10. And so now Lincoln boss Michael Scubala wants to win the title outright. I mean, and he's in the driver's seat for it. but they are heading into the championship next year. So congratulations to the Imps and to everything going on in Lincoln City. Right now, match in hand over Cardiff. And Cardiff, let's see, 46. So Cardiff has 6 matches to go. They can max out at 96 points. If Lincoln City gets 7 points in their next 5 matches, then they would be the champions in Sky Bet League One as they would be promoted. Race to get into the promotion playoff is a little spaced. Once again, Cardiff's at 78 points. Bradford City's at 71. Bolton is at 70. They each have 4 matches to go. Or 5 matches to go. Stockport County and Stevenage each have 23, 46. And so they have 6 matches to go, 67 points and 64. But to get in at the 6 right now, Plymouth Argyle and Reading, 7th and 8th, both at 62 points. That scream you heard was Jess Charman. And Plymouth Argyle has scored 2 more goals than Reading since they're tied on goal difference. Huddersfield and Luton are at 61 points, 9 and 10. Identical records. Huddersfield has scored more goals, and they have 2 more in goal difference on the plus side. So 3 points. You have 5 teams separated by 3 points to get to the number 6 spot in the last promotion playoff spot in League One. Wickham is at 59. They've got an outside chance. Then your relegation spots, and this is where it gets really creepy. This is really out of control. So you have 3 teams of the 4, and there are 4 teams, remember, that get relegated from League One to League Two. And Rotherham right now is 11 points from safety with 7 matches to go. They're at 37 points. Blackpool right now is at 48. Northampton is 13 points from safety with 5 matches to go. And so they would max out at 50 points. Port Vale has 8 matches to go. Their time in the FA Cup has kind of pushed some matches back. And they are at 38 matches played, 31 points. So they're 17 points from safety with 8 matches to go. But the real issue is this. You have 3, 6, 9 teams separated by 5 points for 1 playoff spot. This is how crazy it is. Peterborough and Barnsley. Peterborough with the Vicente Reyes. Posh on loan. They're at 51 points, well ahead of Barnsley on goal difference. Leyton Orient, AFC Wimbledon, Doncaster Rovers, each at 50 points. Leyton Orient has a far superior goal difference. Wigan is at 49, Burton Albion, Blackpool at 48. Exeter is the team that is currently in the relegation zone at 46. So literally you have 9 teams separated by 5 points for 1 relegation spot. Exeter has a fairly superior goal difference, by the way, on 5 of the 9 teams that are in this relegation scrap. Technically 9 teams in a relegation scrap right now for 1 spot. So that's what you're staring at in League One. So if you want chaos over the next month, League One's the league for you. Speaking of leagues, League Two may not necessarily be as chaotic, but you get into the National League and you kind of see a team that's coming up and is making a charge to come into League Two. Right now, it is Bromley, the team that I can't mention by name because they're a bunch of carpetbaggers, and Notts County, who got into a big fight over the weekend, trying to gain points and stay as the 3rd automatic promotion spot in League Two. Right now, they are the 3 that are in. Then once again, promotion playoff, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And you have 2 groups, basically. 4 teams separated by 3 points for 3 of the 4 playoff spots and the number 3 seed overall, which would be automatic promotion to League One. Cambridge United, Swindon Town, each at 74. Cambridge United has a vastly superior goal difference. Salford City's at 73, has the least goal difference of the 3. So you have 4 teams, 3 promotion playoff spots, and the number 3 seed, which would get you out of the promotion playoff spot. So you're trying to promote yourself instead of stay out of the relegation fight. You're in a promotion fight with 3 other teams separated by 3 points. Then the number 7 team, once again, that is the number 4 team in the promotion playoff in League Two, is at 68 points. Then you have 6 teams separated by 6 points to get into that last promotion playoff spot. Chesterfield's at 68. They're in at the moment. Crew Alexandra's at 66. Oldham Athletic at 65. Better goal difference by 1 goal to Grimsby Town. Barnett's at 64, and our friends at Walsall, who have Nofo Brewing across the front, they are at 62. 6 teams, 6 points, last promotion playoff spot. So that's going to be a race down to the wire, with as many as 6 matches to go, depending on who we're talking about. Grimsby has the most. Oldham and Chesterfield have 5 to go. Everybody else has 4 to go. Then you get into the relegation fight. 5 teams, 4 points, 2 spots that you don't want. Crawley, Tranmere, Newport County, all above the line right now, 37, 36, and 34. Barrow and Harrogate, both at 33. Barrow has 1 match in hand, same number of wins and draws as Harrogate Town, but Harrogate Town beneath them. Barrow has a slightly better goal difference. So that gets you into the possibilities of promotion and relegation. Then, as you look at everything else that is floating around as your leagues, national leagues, I don't want that. This is not what I was looking for. I was looking for not national leagues, but non-league, I guess is where I'm going here. Right now, non-league, the National League, we'll probably play this one in the morning as part of opening kickoff. Right now, it is a 46-match schedule, 24 teams in the non-league top flight. And it looks like Morecambe might get a double relegation. You've given up 90 goals in 43 matches so far. So then there are teams that if you're a true sicko like some of us, you'll recognize some of them might have ducked into League Two and then might have ducked out. Morecambe, who got relegated last year, might get relegated again. Aldershot, Yeovil Town, Solihull Moors, Woking, Hartlepool. Jeff Stelling is leaving his gig at TalkSport to go and sit on the board, I think, again at Hartlepool. Then you have the 6 teams that are chasing after the second promotion spot out of the National League to go into League Two. Top team gets automatic promotion. And right now, York City, who has scored an incredible number of goals, 109 goals in the National League. I can't remember the last time I saw a number that high. York City has only given up 40 and 43. They have a goal difference of plus 69. Nice. But they're only 2 points ahead of Rochdale. Same number of matches played. And they have 46, so they have 3 matches to go in the National League to see if someone is who's going to get promoted and who's going to end up in the playoff. So here's how the playoff works in the National League. It's 2 through 7. That includes our friends at Scunthorpe United right now. 2 and 3 wait around. 4, 5, 6, and 7 actually have the first round of the playoff out of the National League. 7 playing 4, 5 playing 6. 2 gets the highest remaining seed. 3 gets the lowest remaining seed. And then they try and figure out who's going to join right now. York City, once again, 3 matches to go. So it is your standard amount of chaos in Championship, League One, League Two, and the National League to try to get into the dance in the leagues that are above them. And I mention this because of the story that came out with the BBC having to do with the championship and just how bad it is right now when it comes to the amount of money lost by these teams in this division and just how off the rails it is getting for teams that are there. I'm trying to see if I can find the actual article, if I'm going to have to go fishing for it. So let me see if I can. Let's see if it's here as I click in. No, I don't care about Kentucky. I don't care about Kentucky whiskey. I really don't. Let's see. No, I don't care about the BBC app either. But yeah, it was a large investigation that was done. And here's the headline, and I'm guessing it's kind of, in a way, something of a self-fulfilling prophecy. So the headline from Ben Ashton, BBC Sport England. Headline, is the championship headed for financial catastrophe? And, I mean, if you look at the championship, and this is a point that we've made in the past, when you look at the standings in the championship, you look at who's in, who's out, and who is formerly of the top flight and who's struggling, and then who's in League One, who is still struggling, those kinds of things. So right now, the standings in the league table, just to give you an idea, and this is teams that have been top flight probably over the last 15 years. Coventry, Ipswich, Middlesbrough, Hull, Southampton, Derby, Norwich, Watford, QPR, Stoke, Swansea, Sheffield United is 12, Blackburn is 13, West Brom is 14, Leicester is 15. So 15 teams out of the 24 in the last decade to decade and a half have been in the Premier League. And then when you get that taste of the Premier League, you sit there and you're going, I kind of like it here. So for whatever reason, the owner of that franchise that is back in the championship, they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we get back there? Ooh, let's spend a lot of money. And that really doesn't turn out to be a great idea over time. Hang on just a second. And this was not a good idea either. So hang on just a second. Nothing like trying to drink something and have it completely and totally just spill all over your hands. Okay. So what the BBC did is they did a bit of a deep dive into the finances of the championship. And what they found out was stuff that we've been talking about for a long time. They just finally tried to quantify it. Bring out the napkins just in case. This is what happens when you put a straw into an aluminum can drink, and it goes over the top of you. So BBC and Ben Ashton tried to quantify just how bad it is. And so here was the findings at the BBC. Is the championship heading for financial catastrophe? A lot of folks would maintain it's already there. £3 billion and counting. That's how much championship clubs have lost in the last decade. Ben Ashton says, to put it into perspective, for that amount, you could buy a pie and a pint at a game 300 million times over. 760 properties in London's Mayfair. 12,000 houses worth £250,000 each. 2 second-tier clubs still yet to submit their accounts for the most recent year. 3 championship clubs recorded a profit in 24-25. Stoke only did so because of a £90 million loan waived by the new owner to offset what would have been an otherwise £29 million loss. Michael Eisner, who, full disclosure, I voted against to be the owner of Portsmouth when he took over. No club can survive for the long term in this system, and if that continues, catastrophe will happen. Dark clouds hovering over the English football pyramid. Seems to me there could be a real collapse where only the Premier League survives. Fewer people are willing to subsidize football. Bristol City, owned by Steve Lansdowne, lost $111 million in the last 5 years, $218 million since he became chairman and a majority shareholder in 2002. Kieran Maguire said what concerns him is that they become anesthetized to the huge numbers which are involved, starting to drip down into League One. Average annual losses have tripled from about £2 million a year to $6 million. We mentioned Steve Lansdowne's numbers. Costs have spiraled beyond all reason. Championship clubs are going to lose over £317 million this year. That's the projected loss. Obviously, in the COVID year, they lost north of 400, close to 500. So according to Companies House and Swiss Ramble, that's where you're at. Championship clubs in 2008-2009, combined loss of £160 million. It was a new record at the time. $450 million during the COVID year, no shock. 19-year period since 2006, championship clubs have lost a staggering £4.3 billion. Steadily losing more money year on year. 22 clubs who've submitted their books for 24-25 have lost a combined £317 million. If you take into account Stoke's underlying numbers without the £90 million written-off loan. Should the remaining two clubs continue on the same trend, projected loss for the recent financial year, £346 million. Luton turned a profit at $17 million, and most of that is from the parachute payments offset, and then Luton understanding that because they got to invest some money in upkeep at Kenilworth Road, they couldn't quite hang on to the players that they did, and so they had a massive sell-off. Plymouth Argyle, by the way, a profit of £300,000. Sheffield United, because of low wage bill, $2.6 million. Stoke, once again, $60 million because of the waiving off of the loan from the owner. Desperate, and what we talked about, the desperation for a Premier League status. Leicester have recorded losses, and this gets into the recent points deduction that they were given by the EFL. £305.7 million in the last 5 years. Spent the most, recording that as a loss. Breaching PSR, and they are in serious, obviously. We talked about where they are right now in the relegation fight in the championship. They are one of the teams, if the season ended today, they'd be relegated. Forest, Fulham, Leeds, and Southampton have recorded significant losses since 2020. Kieran Maguire saying getting there is very expensive. Dropping out is very expensive. Incentivizing to overspend. That's where you are in the championship, because you want to go back to where you were. And to do that, you feel compelled that you have to spend your parachute payments, and you've got to overspend to bring in talent to try to get back. And then if you don't get back, then you've overspent. And then you've got to try to figure out, okay, these player contracts, what do I do with them? Do I keep the player? I can't afford the player, so I've got to move him on, probably at a loss. And then you keep going from there, and the cycle continues. Then you try and fight that much harder to try to get back to the league that you want to be in. And if you don't, then you spend poorly, and it continues to spiral. So literally the top 9 teams in losses since 2020, 2021. Leicester, Forest, Fulham, Leeds, Bristol City, Southampton, Cardiff, north of 95 million, Reading under 91, and Preston North End at 84.4. 4 of the championship sides since 2021, also among the top 6 current second-tier clubs hit hardest by losses. Bristol, Preston, QPR, Middlesbrough failed to record a profit for 5 straight years, as have Derby, Millwall, Oxford, Portsmouth, and Swansea. Coventry City, who are on course to win promotion, have lost $29.5 million in the past 5 years. It's not too bad. Ipswich down 72.4. McGuire likened championship owners striving for the top flight to buying a Euro Millions ticket. Clubs chasing the TV deals worth $106 million plus parachute payments compared to $12 million in the championship. Owner of Stoke writes off £90 million. Hemmings family in Preston put in £1 million a month. And so then McGuire was asked about doomsday scenarios in the championship. Simply put, while there are owners willing to provide this level of subsidy, we've not got a problem. But when you have owners walk away, like Mel Morris did at Derby 4 or 5 years ago, and he said he lost more than $200 million. Sheffield Wednesday, when they went into administration because of Defon Chansiri, who the fans didn't want. Chansiri wanted out, said he wasn't going to invest anymore, kept missing payments. I mean, the basic stuff. Had no business being an owner. Finally, it went into administration. £200 million losses in the 10 years for Chansiri. Owls were docked 18 points because of relegation breaches. Earliest in the history of the EFL getting their relegation February 22nd. And then next year, once again, because they're in administration, if the new owners okay it, they don't want to pay Chansiri any money, they'll sit there and go, you know what, we'll take the 15-point hit. So they would start next year in League One at minus 15 points. So they could be in League Two the end of next season and then trying to build from there. McGuire says that the doomsday scenario has been mentioned over the last 15 to 20 years. Reading some of the pronouncements, if owners collectively stop subsidizing clubs, vast majority of them would run out of money within 6 weeks. Kieran McGuire says that's no way to run a business. That's true, but you're going to have somebody who's going to want to sit there and have it as a line item someplace. And so, EFL Championship, once again, just keep an eye on it. And you'll see what the deal is with all of those clubs and find out really who wants to hang around, who wants to stay, who wants to be a part of it, who wants to have issues investing. Because we mentioned what? Was it 13, 14 of the 24 teams in the championship at one point in the last decade and a half have been in the Premier League? They want to try to get back there? Where a team like Wrexham has gone about it with investment, and now they're getting private equity attached to it and added ownership. They've been understanding that they have to invest more and more and more and more. They get that. When they started their run, it was interesting. We were having a conversation in the press box at Mercedes-Benz, actually. And the question was, okay, how far do you think they can get? And I said, legitimately, they could get to the championship. With the approach that they currently were on, they could get to the championship. And now you're getting to the point to where, okay, or how serious are you? And then you need that real infusion of capital to help you get those players that can be a part of this. Do I think they're going to go into the Premier League this year? No. Do I think that they can figure out the rest and get into it next year? Sure. But I figured this would be the run would get them to here, where they currently are. Then they've got to take that next step and figure out how to pay for it. So what happens when you get here? It's like when in the cartoon a while back, a couple decades ago, when Wile E. Coyote finally caught the Roadrunner. And then he turned to the camera and says, okay, now what do you want me to do with it? I think that's where Wrexham is right now at the championship. They've caught the Roadrunner. Now what do you want me to do? The obvious answer is, bring in more capital so you can try and figure out, okay, here's where we are going forward. How serious are we about getting into the Premier League? I imagine you're very serious about getting into the Premier League. So we'll see just how serious you are, bringing in other owners, selling off bits and pieces of your percentage and of your majority ownership, those kinds of things, the equity sales, and find out what all that's about. So that's kind of where things are in England. We spent a good 40 minutes there. There's a lot going on, and it was an opportunity for us to figure out what in the wide world of sports is going on these days. I'm saving the John Texter stuff for tomorrow for SDHAM because our friend Paul Quinn over at the ESK.org has completed section 3 of his treatise as to what's been going on with Eagle Football Holdings. And then we get the announcement yesterday that John Texter is going to be suing Lyon, etc. And so now you're going to have him trying to sue to gain his controlling interest back, and that's going to go into the courts. It's messy. It's going to take a while to talk about. We really don't have the time to talk about it tonight because I would need more than the 15 minutes to just get us to the top of the hour. So what we'll do is we will put a bookmark in John Texter, and we will continue to go through John Texter's Chronicles on SDHAM. A couple of other things that I thought were important, but we didn't quite have the chance to get into. We always like to try and catch up with our friend Ben Jacobs, who was here with us when the U.S. men's national team had the 2 matches at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Getting into what we saw with Ben today. Lincoln City, just to let you know, unbeaten in 24, back in the second tier for the first time since 61. We'd mentioned Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva looking to leave the club at the end of the year. 6 Premier League titles, a Champions League, departing on a free. Pep Lijnders said you never replace a player with the same kind of player because they don't exist. Bernardo Silva is unique. Juve holds concrete interest in Bernardo Silva, yet to send a formal offer to the Man City captain, who's obviously expected to leave. Several European and other clubs are anticipating an interest. So that's probably the biggest thing involving Manchester City and where they currently stand. So when you look at all the other gossip, rumor, innuendo, what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it, those kinds of things, just to kind of give you a couple of other stories to sink your teeth into. Valentin Barco has said yes to the Chelsea move. Personal terms agreed to ahead of a potential summer transfer. All set on the player's side. Up to Chelsea if or when to proceed, in total control of the deal being at Strasbourg. Napoli have planned since March, and the plan has not changed. The intention is to trigger the €15.5 million buy option clause to sign Alisson Santos. Permanent deal seen as a guarantee, with the players' camp being informed. Alisson's very happy. Sporting is going to be getting the money in June. And obviously no final decision yet as of about a month ago. Club is happy after the director, Mana, wanted him from Sporting. Also on the board, we'll get into Champions League here coming up in a bit, just to kind of give you the numbers. Manchester City's offered a new deal to Rodri. Real Madrid is interested as well. Decision's up to the player, with his family being involved. City would still ask for a big fee, or if he leaves on a free in 2027. So hang on to that piece of information. Napoli's Mana, there will be consequences for Romelu Lukaku, because remember, after the international window, he kind of lollygagged his way back. Romelu decided, this is Mana, quote, Romelu decided not to return when we told him to get back and to stay in Belgium to assess his injury. The group must always be first. We will take our measures, end quote. AC Milan director Eli Tare on Rafa Leao's future. Quote, Rafa has 2 years left on his deal. Very important for us. His skills are not in doubt. This season he has suffered from injuries. David Raya and Mikel Arteta making the point that after these 2 losses that they are hungrier than ever, and that they can take these losses from recent and learn from them. Arteta did confirm Declan Rice, Leandro Trossard, and Gabriel Magalhaes are all available for Sporting versus Arsenal. Bukayo Saka is out. Arteta confirmed that. Jurrien Timber is out. Confirmed that as well. Joshua Kimmich, quote, "We want to impose our style of play in every game, but also Real Madrid are unique in their style of play. They can create danger from any situation. It'll be important to bring our strengths to the pitch," end quote. Fernando Diniz signs tonight, new head coach at Corinthians until December of this year. Agreement approved on both club and the coach's lawyer sides. Kimmich also, he said, "For me, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich are the two biggest clubs in the world. It's always a very special game." Barcelona have already informed Joao Cancelo's agent Jorge Mendes about the desire to keep him. Cancelo would love to stay as he's a Barca fan, happy at the club. Talks with the league that we don't talk about, promoter indoors, are over formula and structure to follow. Harry Kane is back for Bayern, traveling to Madrid with the Bayern squad to face Real. Because this was the MD-1 press conferences with Arteta, Arbeloa, Vinicius Jr., and so you were having all of these sound bites and all of these thoughts heading into these MD-1s. With a lot of different questions to Vinicius Jr., especially on facing Bayern. And so that was your MD-1 for that matchup. Jan Oblak, Mark Pubil, Rodrigo Mendoza back in team training for Atleti ahead of the Barcelona game on Wednesday. Rafinha was back in Barcelona yesterday, or very early this morning. Sorry. Excuse me. Very early this morning, our time, back in Barcelona after spending a week in Brazil following his injury. Mission to be back for El Clasico on May the 10th. According to Mundo Deportivo, Rafinha would be then out for 4 weeks. So it would be a 4-week absence for Rafinha. Dani Olmo said he's never considered any move to the league we don't really talk about recently, as his full focus has always been on Barca. A Barca exit is not in Olmo's plans at this stage, even in case of a huge salary proposal from the league that we don't talk about. Now, getting into the juice boxes for the matchups, since we are down to those numbers in the Champions League. So you have the round of 8, 2 matches tomorrow, 2 matches on Wednesday. Oh, usual handkerchief. You've been botted. You're going to get blocked. You're also going to get reported. Bot. Viewer solicitation. Bot. Hang on. Solicitation. Bot. 23 characters. Not 24. Submit report. Close them up. And there we go. Okay. So usual handkerchief and the rest of you. Streamboo.org. Don't know you, but you get less credit than the Russian organization, the .ru, that decided to just go ahead and say, hey, here's our .ru web address. Why don't you sign up there? How about not? So Sporting and Arsenal and Real Madrid, Bayern Munich tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Arsenal on the road favored at a -125, 90-minute draws a +280. Sporting is a +370. Real Madrid is a +179 at home to Bayern Munich, who's a +129. Draws a +300. On Wednesday, Barca and Atleti. They've never faced each other before. Barca and Atleti. Barca's a -182, draws a +409. Atleti is a +4.25 at the Bernabeu. PSG is on the minus side hosting Liverpool. So Liverpool, reeling from getting knocked out of the FA Cup by Manchester City, gets to go to PSG and the Stade de France, where they're at +333, and your draw is a +320. Yep. OG, we took care of the bot. So that's your numbers. Favorites: Arsenal on the road at Sporting. Bayern Munich on the plus side on the road at the Bernabeu. And then on Wednesday, Barcelona minus side at the Camp Nou against Atletico de Madrid, and PSG at the Stade de France hosting Liverpool. Those are your favorites in the Champions League. Did you see? And I saw this and I was like, what? In South America, and we'll get into Libertadores and Sudamericana coming up here in a bit. So Datafoot was discussing what was going on in the Brazilian divisions. And it was intriguing, to say the very least, that there is a thought about merging the top two divisions to go to 40 clubs, one division, and trying to figure out how to navigate it. So here's what they had reported and how it continued after the initial words had come through. There was a meeting at a hotel in Rio. The 40 clubs from Serie A and Serie B and the National Federation were discussing the unification of the leagues. Some of the agenda included foreigners, number of relegated per season, and the broadcasters. The CBF's intention, the National Federation's intention, is for the agendas to be discussed once they reach a consensus to format the product to be sold to the marketplace. This is according to Datafoot. Matters would be incorporated into what they would call the CBF League. Entity foresees the creation of a relegation for decisions of this type. And remember that this is translated from Portuguese. Possibility of votes with a qualified quorum. Unanimity is not required. So if even 80% of the clubs voted on something, say if 30 of the 40 voted and it still got a approval of 15-13, then it would be approved. CBF's plan is for it and the clubs to have total autonomy in league decisions, including commercial. Similar to that of other places. And so GE Globo came up with the storyline when it came to the CBF. And so they have this meeting in the hotel proposing an agenda for the creation of a single league. So it would be just literally taking the championship and the first division and mashing them together. And GE Globo had 3 reporters on this story. So you know that it's a big deal. So they present this study, currently divided into 2 commercial blocks, and receive a suggested timeline from the national organization. And the forecast is to inaugurate the statutes of the future league by the end of this season, the end of this calendar year. May to July, they put the suggestions together. August and September, present them to the clubs, adjust them, approve the proposals. October to December, you structure the phases, the commercialization, and the league statutes. So it was a basis for the diagnosis, according to GE Globo, in comparison with the biggest leagues in the world, like the Premier League, La Liga, and Bundesliga. Brazilian Confederation officials argued before discussing the division of revenue generated by Brazilian football. And if you thought that there was going to be any problem until then, you talk about division of revenue when you want to merge the top 2 divisions. You initially had, or you've had a history of Flamengo and Libra. Any new commercial agreement when it comes to the sale of broadcast rights would only come into effect from 2030 onward, because both commercial blocks have contracts until 2029. So the plan, it seems, would be to merge the top 2 divisions in Brazil, say that they're going to do it, figure out all the details later, considering that they just need to be online by 2029, figuring out who's going to get relegated, who's in charge, are y'all okay with this, all that. So the CBF, right now, in billions of euros, as they presented it in this hotel in Rio de Janeiro, they claimed that, they meaning the Brazilian Federation, claimed that they get less than a quarter of the current revenue in a television deal than the Premier League. about a third of La Liga and slightly more than a third away from the Bundesliga. €7.5 billion is what they projected for the Premier League revenues for broadcast. La Liga at 5.5, Bundesliga at 5.1, Brasileiro at 1.8. Basically a quarter of what the Premier League gets. 84 million inhabitants, 18 clubs in the main league, for Germany. 210 million inhabitants and 20 clubs in the main league. Recent research by the CBF, the Brazilian Federation, also indicated around 140 million Brazilians support a team. So it's 2/3 of folks in their research claim that they support a team. 40 million considered fanatics. Therefore, organization considers the product undervalued with room for growth. Series of problems it itself has addressed, meaning the Fed, refereeing, scheduling, and financial fair play. Organizations divided the agenda into 10 dimensions of the product. Brazilian football and compared it to England, Spain, and Germany. Brazilian league, according to the Federation, feels it lags behind in calendar, game time, stadium, public and security, infrastructure, transmission, meaning television, and media, communication, social networks, marketing, exodus of talents, governance of the regulation, and financial sustainability. Study evaluated percentages of the games played during daylight hours, starting before 4:30 in the afternoon, and other leagues, showed that 80% of the games in Brazil are at night, only 25% in England, 60% in La Liga, 30% in the Bundesliga. Brazilian Federation considers there may be an impact on stadium attendance, which is also lower in the Brazilian league compared to others. Recent Nexus survey conducted in partnership with the Brazilian Federation indicated basically 3/4 of those who were surveyed consider it unsafe to go to football stadium. They want to transfer their most controversial discussions to the club league type of turf. You have Atlético Mineiro, Botafogo, Chapecoense, and Palmeiras, each using synthetic turf in Serie A. Most clubs in favor of banning turf. I don't know if you can get to do that. Relegation, the prospect reducing the number of relegated teams from 4 to 3. Regulation in the number of foreign players allowed per match. Currently, that is 9. And so that is that's where you are with the Brazilian Federation looking at their future. What do they do from here? Do they merge? Do they try to combine their resources? Do they figure out, okay, are y'all going to be cool with us merging the two leagues and then figuring it out from there? And it's going to be an interesting discussion over the remainder of the calendar year. Standardizing match times. In Europe, prioritizing games in the afternoon. Brasileiro, only 20% of the games during the day. TV networks are like, can we kind of space this out a little more? Consensus among the clubs that have contracts with TV, the goal is to change that dynamic. But yes, they all view the Brazilian Federation believes that the Brasileiro is undervalued. Room for growth. But schedules and security, and sadly, we've talked about it far too much. And when in that survey, they say that 3/4 of the fans have issues and don't go to games. They feel unsafe when they're in soccer stadia in Brazil. That's something you got to look at. The League of Clubs, in the Federation's view, should be responsible for seeking measures that increase fan safety in stadia. Regarding infrastructure, the CBF pointed out Brazilian Championship is the only league that does not have a rigorous club licensing process for match venues, including the pitch. The entity's assessment is that out of 27 quality metrics, the championship only meets 10 of them. Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga failed to achieve at most 3. So they get 24 out of 27 in that listing that the CBF has, the Brazilian Federation has, of markers that need to be met. In Brazil, top flight, 10 of 27, not 24 of 27. So they want to improve the product, define marketing, infrastructure, calendar, and governance. They want to refine the definitions of properties and the commercialization models. In building the league itself, they want governance, legal matters, bylaws, and revenue sharing figured out. And the goal is to increase revenue collection and improve the product, aiming for the next joint sale of the club's TV rights. And so that's why, once again, all this talk wouldn't kick in for this new unified front until the 2030 season. But they want to start talking about it now before the TV deals come up in 2029. So keep an eye on that. We're past 9 o'clock. You know what that means. One thing and one thing only, kids. Picks of the week time, people. Now, we got to go backward before we go forward. And I know that because we were at the brew house last week, we didn't do picks of the week, which means we have to go back 2 weeks. And because of that, Jarrett won on our end. I was at a negative. I literally was at minus 335 for the week. Going back 2 weeks ago, Jarrett finished at a plus 105 for the week. I was at a minus 335. So going back, and we even forgot to talk about Libertadores and Sudamericana. Wow, I forgot to talk about Copa Lib and Copa Sud. Probably talk about that in the morning. And if you haven't listened to Howard Hamilton's new round of the Copa Libertadores show, presented by our friends at Soccer Metrics, please go listen. Set your notifications for when the new ones come out. There is one out that looks at the field of 48, and it also looks at the history of the clubs that are in it and previews things and looks back and goes the whole gamut to get you ready for what's going on in Libertadores. Okay, last time out. In the LPF, we had Deportivo Riestra and San Lorenzo. I actually thought it was going to be a draw, and I won. So I got out to a great start. Then we went to Algeria for the first time ever when we learned about CRB and MC Algier. And I thought it was going to be a draw. And MC Algier won. So now I was back to, I was back to plus 65. Then New Caledonia and Jamaica, we voted for chaos. It didn't happen. So it was a minus 35. Then Bolivia and Suriname. Bolivia won that one to get them to the Intercontinental title game, at least in their bracket. So I was back up to plus 135. Then we go to the Uzbekistan fatal four-way group contest tournament thing against Gabon. And you know what? We did all that math on Denny Bouanga and didn't even show up. And you ended up with a 3-1 win for Uzbekistan at home against Gabon. So Jarrett won and I lost. So back to plus 65. Then Merseyside Derby in the WSL. And I thought it was going to be Everton. Liverpool won at 3-2. And so Jarrett won that one. Then League Two, we had Barnet and Cambridge United 2 Saturdays ago. Jarrett picked Barnet and he won. I picked Cambridge United because they were a slight underdog on the road, but they had a better record, and they lost. And then at the World Cup friendlies, it was U.S. and Belgium. I thought it was going to be a draw. Jarrett did not. Jarrett won. So he finished at a plus 105, and I had a minus 335 on the week. The tiebreaker, by the way, fouls in the U.S. friendly. Now, in that U.S. friendly, it was 18. I said 21, and Jarrett said 23. So Jarrett continues his winning ways. I continue to lose, and that should be no shock. So, okay. We'll see if we can find some countries that we haven't been in, and we also have to have, and this is from the OG, we have to have the Uzbek variant in here somewhere. And let's see. So let's see if we have anything in Uzbekistan in the Super League in Uzbekistan. Football Super League next matches will appear here as soon as the bookmaker betting odds become available. So the last results. No matches displayed. No odds from your selected bookmakers. And the standings in the Super League as they are loading. Let's see. We'll go to SofaScore like the OG does. Neftchi Fargona is 5 for 5, by the way, in the Uzbek Premier League, in the Super League. They are at 15 points. Paktakor is 4 wins and a loss. They're at 12. The league itself is 16 teams, and they've gone through match week 5. Neftchi Fargona has won all 5. Mashal Mubarak has lost all 5, and they've scored only once. So we might have to go to our friends at SofaScore before their system craps out and tells me that there's something wrong. But to get things started, tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and do it because we talked about how crazy the EFL was. So on Tuesday, April 7th, in the EFL Championship, Wrexham and Southampton. It's a game that means a lot. To both sides. Wrexham currently in the last promotion playoff spot. Southampton on the outside looking in. Both Wrexham and Southampton are plus 160s. Draw is a plus 260. I'm going draw at the Racehorse Ground. Although since I'm secretly cheering for Wrexham, I wouldn't mind a win, but I'm going to pick the draw for Wrexham and Southampton tomorrow in that one. Uzbek national team players is in the Turkey Super League. Okay, so hang on. All right, so if we do Uzbekistan national soccer team, because then we can go to the Wikipedias and we can see who is currently on the roster. The White Wolves are the Turanians. The captain is Eldor Shamuradov, Fabio Cannavaro. And we've been efforting trying to get onto the Uzbek media list so we can become more informed as to everything Uzbek as they are heading here to Atlanta to be headquartered as they get ready for everything. Okay. Abdikir Husanov is at Manchester City. A lot of the current squad. So a lot of the players called up for the FIFA series against Gabon and Venezuela. And there aren't a whole lot of goals that have been scored. Okay, so, Eldor Shamuradov, the captain. OG, this is who you're thinking of. The captain of the side for the Uzbeks, Shamuradov, plays for Başakşehir in the Turkish league. A lot of them play in the Uzbek National League. You have, like I said, you have Husanov who plays for Manchester City. You have Rustam Ashurmatov who plays in Iran. You have Mozgovoy at midfield who plays in the UAE on the same team as Otabek Shukurov. They're both in the midfield. Traktor of Iran is where Hamrobakov plays in the midfield. Albateh in the UAE is where Ghaniev plays. These are midfielders. Persepolis in the Iranian league is where Ostan Uranov plays. And like I said, most of the players have stayed in the Uzbek national in the Super League. You have Rakhbanaliev. He plays in the Azerbaijani league. Shamuradov plays at Başakşehir. And Sergeyev at forward plays at Persepolis of Iran. And Tamirov plays at Erbil in Iraq. So, so Shamuradov plays at Başakşehir. So we may have to do an adjunct kind of a. We'll actually tell you what. Let's do this. Let's take the Uzbek Super League as a priority here when it comes to picking the day. the day and the matchups, because if there are matchups coming this week, then we need to know them. And we need to find out what it's going to look like. So we do have a handful of games tomorrow. And we do have this is match week 6 currently in the Uzbek Super League. We have the 8 matchups. And number 1 versus number 2 is on Thursday. And it is Neftchi and Paktakor. Neftchi and Paktakor play on Thursday. So I think it's safe to say that if we go to the Uzbek Super League for Thursday, and by the way, the matchup tomorrow is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So the Uzbek Super League at 10 o'clock a.m. our time, Thursday, Neftchi and Paktakor. So the Uzbek Super League, number 1 versus number 2, in a battle of early supremacy and tiebreakers. I'm trying to spell Paktakor here. All right, so Neftchi and Paktakor, since we don't have any odds posted on this one, we're going to do plus 100s across the board. And to give you an idea on the head-to-heads recently, we'll go with recent form. So recent form, Paktakor has won 5, Neftchi has won 4, and there is 1 draw. In the last 10, Paktakor has won 5, Neftchi has won 4 with a draw. And it is at Neftchi, from what I gather. So number 1 versus number 2 at number 1. Number 1 has 1 less win in the last 10 in this matchup. So keep an eye on that one. And when we get to number 4 on the list, it'll be Neftchi and Paktakor. I probably have just completely and totally blown the order anyway, but we'll see what it looks like. Hang on. So now we're looking for other stuff on Tuesday. We are looking for other stuff early in the week. And I know that I also wanted to get into CONCACAF Champions Cup. And the only one that's close is tomorrow. So we'll do number 2 will be the Triple C. Tuesday, 4/7 at 8 p.m. at Geodis, Nashville, and Club America. Right now, Nashville, after losing to Chicago, they're probably just kind of mad a little bit, maybe saving a little bit for Club America. Nashville's a plus 145. Club America is a plus 229. The draw is a plus 229. Club America is a plus 200. And so in the Triple C, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I'm going to go with Club America. So your first 2 matchups, EFL Championship tomorrow at 3, Wrexham and Southampton. Then you've got the Triple C tomorrow night at 8, Nashville and Club America. Nashville's a plus 145 at home at Geodis. Club America is a plus 200 on the road. Your draw is a plus 229. Your late game, Cruz Azul is at LAFC. 10 o'clock kick, LAFC is a plus 114, draws a plus 240, and Cruz Azul is a plus 250. The 2 games on Wednesday are fairly large in their margins. Tigres hosting Seattle. Seattle's a plus 400 at 9 o'clock. Draws a plus 280, and Tigres is a minus 154 at 11 o'clock. Toluca at Estadio Nemesio Diaz against LAG. LAG's a plus 575. 90-minute draws a plus 400. Toluca's a minus 263. I would go with the favorites on Wednesday. I would go with LAFC at home on tomorrow night, and I would go with Club America at a plus 200 on the road at Geodis tomorrow early. So 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock tomorrow. 8 o'clock tomorrow night is Club America and Nashville. So that is game number 2. Now, Let's see if we can find game number 3. So if the Thursday is 4-9, do we have? No, we don't have any numbers there yet. Nuts. Okay. Well, I was thinking we might have something, but we don't. Okay. I'm in right now, and we'll do a quick look at Libertadores and Sudamericana too. So let's see if we can find South America. South America. Okay. So Libertadores and Sudamericana, they standings and results. So keep an eye on the qualifications and the group stage and qualifications and such. Where are we here? Group stage is loading, and we've got all the groups. So, and I thought we were getting ready. That's why I was getting all jazzed up and excited about it. So, South America, Libertadores, Sudamericana, and still no numbers posted. Okay. All right. Well, so much for that idea. All right. I'm trying to think of places that we haven't been that we can dive into for like Tuesday, for like Wednesday, Thursday. And then we've got the backside of all of the matchups that are there. The LDF and the Dominican Republic. Are you going to cooperate? The answer is no. Let's see. Is there anything going on here? I mean, come on, people. It's like you tell me that there are leagues going on and then you don't have any games for me. I mean, this is just annoying in general. I would do Estonia, but the numbers are too far apart because Estonia is tomorrow as well. So wait a second. So if we did Champions League, you got numbers. No, Champions League really didn't do anything for me. So let me see. When is we do Europa and Conference League? When do we do those? The 8th and 9th. So that's this week also. Okay. We'll hang on to that one. Okay, so we could actually do Europa League as a fallback. If we're having problems finding games, we could probably do Europa League as a fallback, and we could do Conference League as a fallback. So we do have some wiggle room when it comes to matchups and things. They say all these matchups, they say finished, but they don't tell you what the heck happened. Okay, so then, like I said, we can always do a fallback if we're really hurting for games and things. Okay. So when is that? That is the 9th at 11 o'clock. Okay, so I know what number 5 is going to be. All right, so I know that one. We'll get there. So we're building. I'm still looking for match number 3 just to fill out the timetables. And the timetables are. I don't want to do 3 in one day. Although, if you really are a sicko, tomorrow at 2:45, Northern Ireland's Premiership has 4 matchups at 2:45 local Eastern time. One in the championship group, and 3 in the relegation group. So that Northern Ireland apparently also does the dreaded split, which would drive Jason crazy. Yeah, Braga and Betis is Wednesday in Europa. So we'll have that as a fail-safe. But I know where match number 5 is going to be. That one I've got figured out. So let's see here. And we will have an education with matchup number 5. That much we will have. No, I don't want to do that because it's way too far down the line. Let's see. About here. Do we have anything on the weekend? No, we don't. That's not nice. Let's see. We've been there. I don't think we've been there. At least we haven't in a while anyway. Okay. We're getting there. Oh, okay. All right. So if Thursday is the 9th, Friday is the 10th, Sunday is the 12th. Okay. So we can do that one. And like I said, I'm finding games and I'm writing them down in my order. So that day, at that time, all right, so we got that one. So I know number 8 with games going on right now, by the way, in this particular league in Chile. All right, so that one we got figured out. So we know number 8, we know number 5. Like I said, we do have bailouts if we need them. Okay, so Saturday. Okay, so Saturday we can go here. And that's there. So what is this one? Okay, so this one is there. All right, so that one I've got. So Saturday. All right, so if Thursday is the 9th, Saturday is the 11th. Okay, so we're getting there. Actually, let's take the other one. Let's go there. So yeah, so we'll do that one instead because I think we've actually done those 2 previous teams. All right, so I'm missing 2 matchups. Game in Haiti. Okay, so the OG says there's a game in Haiti. Okay, because we have not done a Haitian league match anytime recently that I can think of. And I would have done that one, but it's tomorrow. Let's see. So if we go here, we go weekend. You don't give me any odds. Damn you people. All right. So that would have been a country that we had not done anything in recently, and that would have been nice, but no, of course not. You can't give us that one. And those 2 countries have had theirs. So let's see. So we went there. We did that one. Let's see. Have we been here recently? Yeah, but not with those numbers. We're not going there. Okay. Let's see. Have we been here recently? I don't think we have. So, okay. Let's do that. All right. So, here's what we're going to do. All right. So, I've got 7 of the 8, and I have laid out number 7 because I want to hang on to it for a minute. All right. So, here we go. Game number 3. So, just to recap, game 1 tomorrow, 3:00 EFL Championship, Wrexham and Southampton. Both teams to win are a plus 160. Your draw is a plus 260. I picked draw. Tomorrow night, the Triple C. 4-card one from the Twitch pitch. New overall leader. Damn. 4 cards come from the outside. All right. So the Triple C tomorrow is game number 2. Nashville and Club America. Nashville's a plus 145. Club America is a plus 200. That's who I picked. Draws a plus 229. Game number 3, and I don't think we've been here, and if we've been here, it's been a while. The South African Betway Premiership. So the South African Premiership tomorrow, Wednesday at 1:30 our time. TS Galaxy hosting Polokwane. TS Galaxy is at home, and they're a plus 150. Draws a plus 179. Polokwane is a plus 195. So, TS Galaxy hosting Polokwane tomorrow. Wednesday at 1:30. To get the standings, after Kaiser Chiefs won earlier today, by the way, 3-1. So the standings, right now, Mamelodi Sundowns on top. 16. They've only lost once in 22 match weeks. They're on top at 53 points. Polokwane is in 7th, and they're on the road as an underdog. They've lost 2 of 3. They've played 21 matches. They have some making up to do, and I'm guessing that's why they're playing on Wednesday. So Polokwane, 7th in the table. They've lost 2 of 3. They're at 29 points on the road at TS Galaxy, who have lost 4 of 5. And they are the home favorite in this one. TS Galaxy, a home favorite at a plus 150. Polokwane has lost 2 of 3. They're separated by 4 points in the table. Polokwane is right now in 7th. TS Galaxy is in 11th. Galaxy has been on a skid of skids. And Polokwane is a road dog. All right, so I know where I'm going here. Let's find out about these two clubs. All right, so Polokwane FC in the Betway Premier. So Polokwane City FC has an interesting logo. I don't know what those are. Polokwane City Football Club, founded in 2012, 14 years ago. They play at Old Peter Mokaba Stadium that has a capacity of 15,000. Last year in the South African Premiership, they were mid-table. Established in 2012, although after the owners of Bay United sold the franchise to the Mogalati family. Club was officially moved from Port Elizabeth to Polokwane City. They are in the Limpopo province that currently plays in the first tier. Bay United originally came into existence in 2006 when the franchise of the struggling National First Division club Maritzburg United purchased and relocated to Port Elizabeth. One season in the Premier Soccer League, other years of its existence in the National First Division. Club's NFT franchise was moved to Polokwane, Limpopo. Promoted to the Premiership in 2013. Won the National First Division on the final day, earning promotion to the 2023-24 Premiership. 4 of the club's players died in a traffic accident on November 11 of 2012. Crash occurred on the R71 highway near Polokwane as the players were returning from their match against FCAK. 36-year-old man was arrested on suspicion of drunken and reckless driving. Komotso Sylvester Mpakitsane, Benjamin Moketsi Intete, Mojalefe Robert Mafuti, and Koketso Isaiah Takalo. They were the 4 players that passed in this crash. And so literally that is one of the only pieces of information on this club that they have. Other than they were a former franchise that was purchased and then moved. And they spent most of their time in First Division, earned promotion in the 2023-24 Premiership, and currently roster for the most part is South African in nationality. Brian Bwire is their keeper. He is Kenyan. Most of the other players are South African. They have Manuel Kambala, who is Mozambique by birth or by nationality, and everybody else, literally, you have a Kenyan keeper and you have a Mozambique midfielder. Everybody else is from South Africa. Only 5 non-South African nationals can be registered. Foreign players who have acquired permanent residency can be registered as locals. Namibians before 1990 can be registered as South Africans. And so they have former residents and coaches and such. And apparently they were promoted on the narrowest of margins on a dramatic final day in the NFD. So if we go to their website, I like the away colors. The away colors is a very, very electric kind of a teal. Home colors, a very solid orange outfit. Rise and shine, Polokwane City FC. And they got a point away from home back in 2018, so it shows you how completely up-to-date this website is. So, yes, this website apparently has not been touched since the 2018 season. So, if you go to this website, I think the information is probably a little outdated. Yeah, the 5 weeks into the 2018 season, they're listed as being 12th in the table, behind Kaiser Chiefs. So the Bidvest Wits right now are at the top of the table, which they are not, because we have the in-depth table, and it is not what is currently listed on the Polokwane City FC website. So if you're looking for up-to-date information about Polokwane City, go other places. So Polokwane City, as we were looking for any kind of actual information on them, they are really only a 15-year-old club. And they used to be under the ownership of another group, and then they were bought out, and then they were moved, and that's where they are right now. So TS Galaxy FC, that's not bad. Okay. Based in Camille Riviere in the Nkangala District Municipality near Siabuswa, Mpumalanga, playing in the Premiership. Now, they're an 11-year-old franchise, nicknamed the Rockets, and their full name, Tim Sukazi Galaxy. This would be like if the football team in Dallas named themselves the Jerry Jones Cowboys. This is what you have with TS Galaxy FC. The owner is a man by the name of Tim Sukazi, and so he has decided to name the team after himself. TS Galaxy FC. Tim Sukazi, TS Galaxy FC. All the more reason probably to go for Polokwane here. So the Rockets, formed in 2015, campaigned in the second division for 3 years before purchasing. So this is a very Liga MX move. Before purchasing the national first division status of the Cape Town All-Stars in 2018. Yeah, this is a very Liga MX move by Mr. Sukazi. They won their first trophy in 2019, winning the Nedbank Cup, beating Kaiser Chiefs. Competed in the CAF Confederation Cup in 1920. Eliminated by Enyimba of Nigeria in the playoff round. And so then they won one better. Okay, so TS Galaxy purchased a franchise. They purchased the National First Division status to Cape Town All-Stars in 2018. So they didn't win their way up. Basically, they just said, tell you what, fam, we'll buy your rights from you. Apparently, the Cape Town All-Stars were cool with this. And in 2018, Tim Sukazi, or TS Galaxy, or whatever entity you wish to say, TS Galaxy purchased the right to play in the National First Division. So Cape Town All-Stars made a couple of bucks. They're like, yeah, we'll stay. We're good. So then in September of 2020, TS Galaxy, who play in the Bombela Stadium with a capacity of 43,500, under the current leadership of Adnan Beganovic. Tell me if you've heard this before. September 2020, they purchased the premiership status of Highlands Park and appeared in the 2020-21 South African Premiership season, finishing 9th. So basically, they bought their way into the first division. Then they bought their way into the Premiership. In September 2020, literally 2 years apart. You buy your way to two separate clubs. You buy the license, I guess, of the club, and then you go in and they stay where they are. Tell you what, here's a couple of bucks. You can't afford to play in that league. We'll take care of it for you. Here's a couple of bucks. We want your license. Okay. So in June of 24, after finishing a record 6th in the Premiership, The club was handed a 3-window ban on registering new players by FIFA for unpaid fees to their ex-striker Bernard Yao Kawasi. Played in the CAF Confederations Cup in 1920, defeated St. Louis Suns United and CNAPS Sport before being defeated by Enyimba in the playoff round. That's their only trophy, by the way. Was the Nedbank Cup in 2019. But they have bought their way to 2 promotions to play in the Premiership. Most of the team is South African. Paulinho plays there. Igor Salatiel from Brazil plays there. He's on the current roster. Junior Zindoga, a forward from Zimbabwe. Mehdi Wamri, who we know. Where do I know Mehdi Wamri from? Mehdi Wamri. Where have we seen him before? God, was it Chattanooga FC? Oh, wait. Hang on just a second. Yes, it was Chattanooga Football Club. That's what I thought. The Algerian U18, U20 international. I was right, and he was one of the ones I think who got tossed in all that chaos that one time when the Twos were playing Chattanooga FC at Fort Finley. We had chaos late, and Mehdi Wamri, I think, was one of the ones that got tossed from Chattanooga FC. So he's currently now playing at TS Galaxy in the South African Premiership. We've tracked you down, Mehdi Wamri. So if you ever come back to MLS Next Pro, we know where you are. From the Ivory Coast, Ira Tape is in net, as is Mori Keita at forward. Paulinho, and once again, a bunch of South African nationality players. Defender from the Netherlands, Ezra van der Heijden. But yes, Mehdi Wamri. Gotcha. So they purchased their National First Division status, and then 2 years later purchased their Premiership status. And they've been in the Premiership. They finished 5th last year. And so you got that. So that is your update on TS Galaxy FC. They've bought their way into the South African Premiership and did so 2 years out of 3. Where every kick takes you closer to greatness. This looks like just a shadow page, basically. Yeah, so this is basic. This is a shadow website. It doesn't even have anything on it. It's like cute little phrases and things where they've done nothing to the website just so they could own the domain. So, Mehdi Wamri, we found you. Okay, so the numbers. TS Galaxy is below Polokwane in the standings, but they're at home. They're at a plus 150, draws a plus 179. Polokwane is on the road. They're better in the standings and the plus 195. Polokwane 7th in the table. They've lost 2 of 3, 29 points. TS Galaxy, named after their owner. Literally, this would be like the Al Davis Raiders or the Jerry Jones Cowboys. You have TS Galaxy. TS Galaxy has lost 4 of 5. I'm surprised that TS has not fired his entire Galaxy, including Mehdi Wamri at this rate. So plus 195 for Polokwane. I'm going with Polokwane. I'm sorry. Anybody that names their club after themselves and you've bought your way into the Premier Division, you bought your way into the Second Division, you bought your way into the Premier Division, you've been there for 5 years, but you didn't pay your striker. So you had a three-window transfer ban. I'm going to Polokwane. Then, once again, match number 4 in the Uzbek Super League, 1 versus 2, Neftchi and Pakchakor, 10 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. But all of that's 100s. Neftchi and Pakchakor, 1 versus 2. I'm going draw. Nothing is resolved. So then match number 5 in the competition this week is on Thursday morning at 11 o'clock, and it is in the Latvian Versliga, first division in Latvia. At 11 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, Grobina is taking on Supernova. Grobina at home is a plus 129. Draws a plus 210. Supernova is a plus 175. So the standings in the Veersliga, they are loading. They're in match week number 5 right now. Supernova right now, it's early. So Supernova, and this is 4 versus 5 actually, at number 5. So Supernova is 2-1-1, and they are on the road at Grobina. Supernova has won 2 in a row. They lost their first match of the season, but they have unbeaten in 3, 7 points, and they've scored 6 and given up 5. Grobina is right behind them in the table. They are also 2-1-1, but they lost. They won their first, lost their second, won their third, and drew last time out against Tukums 2000, not to be confused with Andre 3000. But Grobina isn't scoring a lot of goals, but they're not giving up a whole lot either. So in the 10-team Superliga, the Veersliga in Latvia, right now, it is Riga and everybody else. Riga is blowing people out of the water. Grobina has scored 3. They've given up 3. They are tied for next to last in goals scored with a handful of other clubs. Remember, they've only gone through 4 match weeks. But they're tied for second in defense. RFS has given up 2 goals in their first 4, and Grobina has given up 3, and there is another club that has given up 3, and that is Auda, and they are second in the table. So Grobina ain't scoring a whole lot. They're next to last in the 10-team league with goals scored, but they're second best in defense with goals allowed. And they are at home to Supernova, who has won 2 in a row, and Supernova beat Ogre United on the road, and before that they beat Tukums 2000 on the road. So they took care of the teams at the bottom of the table to get their last 2 wins, and both of them were on the road. So now they've got a third match in a row on the road at Grobina, and Grobina, once again, they drew Tukums 2000 last time out as well. So this one, Grobina's at home. They're tough on defense, but so they've scored 4 of their 6 goals against lesser competition. And then they lost 2-1 to Supernova, to Auda to start their season. Then after that, they haven't lost anything. So because of all of this, I don't think Grobina is going to give up a lot. I don't think they're going to score a lot. Supernova has scored on the road, but they score better at home. So I think Grobina gets the win here, but I don't think a whole lot of. So I think that's what I'm staring at. So that's number 5. Latvia, Veersliga, Grobina, and Supernova. Grobina at a plus 129. Supernova at a plus 175. Draws a plus 210. And so I'm going with Grobina in that one. I'm going with Grobina. Now, number 6, Saturday morning, 11:45. And this one, we're going to Hungary. We're going to the first division in Hungary, the NBI, for a matchup. We're avoiding our friend Stephen Glass at Ferencváros on purpose. At 2:00 in the afternoon on Saturday, match number 6. Nyíregyháza hosting Pax. Nyíregyháza hosting Pax in the Hungarian First Division. Nyíregyháza is a plus 160. The draw is a plus 250. Pax is a plus 135. So let's find out where they are in the standings. Nyíregyháza, the home side, is 9th in the table through 28 match weeks. They're at 32 points, and they've hit each column in their last 3. Last time out, by the way, they lost 1-0 at Győr, who is currently leading the table in the Hungarian First Division. Lost 1-0 at Győr. And so they're 9th in the 12-team league at 32 points. Pax is unbeaten in 4, and they have a plus 15 goal difference. They are 12 points better than Nyíregyháza. 12 points better through 28 match weeks. They are unbeaten in 4. They've won 2 in a row. 2 wins, 2 draws in their last 4. And Pax hits the road as a road favorite to take on Nyíregyháza. So let's find out about these 2 clubs, shall we? Mehdi Wamri. I can't believe we found Mehdi Wamri. I'm laughing. All right, so Nyíregyháza, if I have to stare at this and spell it. Nyíregyháza, too many Z's. Hang on just a second. Nyíregyháza in the Hungarian First Division. Nyíregyháza Spartacus. Looks like some club out of New York State with a crest. The nickname is the Zapari. They're 98 years old. Brief stints in the Nemzeti Bajnokság, the 3rd division. Set to play in the Bajnokság, Nemzeti Bajnokság 1. Okay, so Nemzeti, that's the NB. Okay, so the Nemzeti Bajnokság 1, or Fizliga, after their title sponsor, OTP Bank's web shop subsidiary. So Nemzeti Bajnokság, NB1. I get it now. Now, teams locally referred to by their moniker Zapari. Games take place in Városi Stadion, complex just north of town. Seats 10,500. In the 1920s, they played their first season in the 2nd division in the Szabolcsi group, finishing in 4th. They won the 34-35 season in the Kelet-Magyarországi Laj, promoted to the 2nd division in the 30s, relegated to the 3rd division back in 37-38. Refounded in 1959, fusing Spartacus and Epitok. Team entered the 2nd division in the early 60s, and then now in the First Division B, the golden team of the 60s. And then they won NB2. They won the 2nd division in the 1980s, promoted for the first time. First season in NB1, they finished 7th. 1980, then they ascended into NB1. First match against Győri VTK. Returned to NB1 in 98-99 after being relegated, 83-84. 04-05, the league expanded again to allow 16 teams in. Then they finished 15th and relegated back to the 2nd division. Then, let's see, they were in NB2. 01-02 finished 7th. 02-03 finished 5th. 04-05, when the league was expanded, when the first division was expanded, they went back in, but then they were relegated. Then 06-07, they won NB2. Club finished 15th in NB1, relegated again because it's 16 teams. Then in the 2010s, promoted again. So they've been a yo-yo club. They've been a yo-yo club for a lot of their existence. And so they are currently now, once again, first division, safely so. Colors are red and blue, 2 colors selected from the flag and coat of arms of Nyíregyháza. Badge contains the initial letters of the club, NY, SF, and C. Since the voiced palatal nasal N sounds corresponding to the letter first letter is a digraph in the badge of the club. First stadium opened in 58, demolished in 21. held 10,500. New stadium built between 21 and 24. Opened on late August 24. Team has several fan groups. The Coletti Front, the Eastern Front, began in 1992. The Mastiffs in 1995, and most recently Elite, ELIT, in 2007. The fans have a friendship with Polish fans of Resovia Rzeszów. So they won the second division, Niemczeci Bajnoshag, 5 times. They won the third division once. And so they've been most of the time, like I said, most of the time they've been a yo-yo club between the first and the second division. Current squad, a lot of Hungarian players. They do have a Ukrainian midfielder, a Serbian defender, an Austrian forward, 2 North Macedonians, a forward and a defender, Mohamed Tiani, who's on loan from Slavia Prague from Nigeria. They have Eneo Bitri from Albania, Bright Edamwonyi from Nigeria, Pavlos Correa, defender from Cyprus, Slobodan Babic from Serbia. They have Meldin Dreskovic, who's Montenegrin, on loan from Darmstadt, and they have several Hungarians that are out on loan. So, I mean, the biggest thing on Geza Spartacus is the fact that they've been a yo-yo club. 98 years old, and they're a yo-yo club. So that's what we know about them. Then PAX. P-A-K-S. Literally, that's who they are. It's PAX. PAX FC in Hungary. So if we find out about PAX, technically, I guess it's Pakshi. Okay. So it technically is supposed to end with an I, but in the standings, it is just P-A-K-S. So it's Pakshi. Started in 1952. The nickname, this is good. The nickname of the club is the Atom Shapat, the nuclear team. They play in a stadium of 6,150 folks. Georgi Bonyar is their current manager. They finished 3rd in the Hungarian League last year. Played at either a county or national level. 2006, they got into the top flight for the first time. Green and white colors, and I like their top, the home color top. And the club is known for its policy of signing only Hungarian players. Football first came to PAX in August of 1912. Played locally for 40 years. Then Pakshi Sport was formed and began competing at the county level in 52. Opened their new grass playing field in 66. Won the county championship in 1970. Hosted Ferencváros for the first time in 70. 3rd division for a couple more years. 81-82, they were in one of the subdivisions of the 3rd division. Then 2000s finished 3rd in the 3rd division in 02-03, eligible to be promoted. 3 years in the 2nd division. 04-05, they finished 2nd. Then they won the 2nd division in 05-06. Stayed up for a while. Then, let's see, 2023, Georgi Bonyar was appointed head coach. And a lot on where they are currently. Clubs are green. Colors are green and white. Obviously, many clubs like Ferencváros, Szombathely, Haladas, and Győr. And so, yes, the nickname of the club is being the Atom Shapat. The nuclear team stems from the fact that the only nuclear power in Hungary is based in PAX. So, runners-up in the 1st division on 2 occasions, finished 3rd once, won the 2nd division, won the 3rd division, won the Magyar Kupa twice, won the Szabadföld Kupa once in 76, won the Liga Kupa once in 2010-2011. And so, once again, they are a complete and total Hungarian roster. And they do have 8 Hungarians out on loan. All Hungarian front office, all Hungarian management, and they were even in the UEFA Conference League and Europa League in 25-26. And so when we see PAX in the Conference League and the Europa League, that's what they're talking about here. It's Pakshi, the team that we're talking about here. Europa League, they lost in 2 legs to Cluj in the first round of qualifying. Then they got down to Conference League. Then they won against Maribor to advance to the second round of qualifying in UEFA Conference League before losing to Zhytomyr of the Ukrainian league. So that's really it. I mean, literally the Atom Shapat, the nuclear team, because the only nuclear power facility apparently in Hungary is in Pakshi. Georgi Bonyar, and the fact that they only have Hungarian players. So Paks is a road favorite at Nyari Gyaza, and we're going to go with Paks on the road. So we're going to go with Paks at match number 6. And I know that we're past 10 o'clock, and I apologize for that. So tell you what we're going to do. We are going to go. Let me see if we can find something here on either the. Ooh, okay, cool. Let's see if we can find a good one here. Actually, tell you what, let's go domestic. Let's see if we can find something in Major League Soccer on Saturday. All right, so Saturday, we can find one to laugh at. Okay, so don't want to go there. Don't want to go there. Don't want to go there. Okay, tell you what, let's do this one. Match number 7 is MLS. Saturday afternoon at 2:30. Austin hosting LAG. So Austin hosting LAG on Saturday. Austin's a plus 140. Draws a plus 260. LAG's a plus 179. Remember, LAG is going to have been playing middle of the week. They'll have been a dog, and then they're having to come around and turn to Austin, and Austin's favored at home. So I like Austin in this one at a plus 140. So that gets us to match number 8, and it is in Chile in the Liga de Primera, and it is Sunday afternoon at 5:30. Sunday the 12th at 5:30. It is Ñublense and Universidad de Chile. And right now in the standings, with Ñublense and Universidad de Chile, in the standings in the Chilean Liga de Primera, Ñublense and Universidad de Chile, it's loading, match day number 9. Universidad de Chile and Ñublense, this is a battle of 4 versus 5. Both teams at 13 points, identical records. Universidad de Chile is on the road at Ñublense. Ñublense has drawn twice in a row. Universidad de Chile has won 3 of 4. Identical records. Universidad de Chile has a better goal difference slightly. Once again, we're through 8 match weeks. It's match week number 9. Universidad de Chile and Ñublense. Ñublense is at home. So looking at these matches, Sunday afternoon, 5:30. Ñublense at home is a plus 150. Draws a plus 210. Universidad de Chile is a plus 165. I'll go draw here because I think late in the week I'm going to need a big number to try and get back in the game, because I know that all of you will have beaten me at that point. We could have even gone Monday Night Football, which would have been 8 o'clock a week from tonight, Unión La Calera and Deportivo Concepcion, but that would have been trying to watch it and do this at the same time. So here we go. Once again, recapping the 8. EFL Championship tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Wrexham and Southampton. Match number 2, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Nashville and Club America. Wrexham and Southampton, even money at a plus 160 on each side, draws a plus 260. Nashville at home, plus 145, hosting Club America at a plus 200. Draws a plus 229. Game 3, South African Premiership, Wednesday, 1:30 in the afternoon. TS Galaxy and Polokwane. TS Galaxy is a plus 150, draws a plus 179, and Polokwane a plus 195. Match day 4, Uzbek Super League, number 1 versus number 2, Thursday morning, 10 o'clock. Neftchi and Paktakor, no odds as of yet, so it's plus 100s across the board. Number 5, first division in Latvia, the Virsliga, and that is on Thursday morning at 11. Grobina hosting Supernova. Grobina plus 129, draws a plus 210, Supernova's a plus 175. Match 6, Saturday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. First Division, Hungary. Nyíregyháza hosting Pakshi. Nyíregyháza plus 160, draw plus 250, Pakshi plus 135. Match 7, MLS, Austin FC taking on LAG, who has played in CONCACAF Champions Cup earlier in the week. Austin plus 140, 2:30 Saturday afternoon. Draws a plus 260, LAG's a plus 179. And then the last matchup, Sunday, 5:30, Ñublense and Universidad de Chile. Ñublense is a plus 150, draws a plus 210. Universidad de Chile is a plus 165. Now, tiebreaker. What do we do here? Tiebreaker. Okay, so let's do. Let's see. Let's do. All right, let's welcome everybody back in since we had a week off. Total goals, Premier League this match week. Total goals, Premier League this match week. So you have Friday Night Football, West Ham and Wolves. Saturday, you've got 4 games. Arsenal, Bournemouth, Brentford, Everton, Burnley, Brighton, Liverpool, Fulham. 4 more on Sunday. Forest and Villa, Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Sunderland, Spurs, Chelsea, Manchester City, Monday Night Football, Manchester United, and Leeds. That's your 10. Number of goals. So if we go 11, 13, 20, 26. I'll go 33. 33 goals in the Premier League games, all 10 this week. Starting Friday Night Football, 4 on Saturday, 4 on Sunday, and Monday Night Football. To them, not to us. 3 o'clock kick on Monday, Manchester City and Leeds, and so that'll be the end, and that'll figure out your tiebreaker as we come back in for another week. Okay, so I will post these 8 in the Discord. And since the first match is tomorrow, I'm going to have to do it after the show's over. And so there you go. As always, thanks as always for all of you guys hanging out with us as you always do. Going over a very difficult situation, a bunch of different fronts in England. Got to spend a deep dive there. How crazy the playoffs and the run-in are going to be, and the relegation fights. And just how many teams are losing money in England, too. So tomorrow, we will go over what we'll have in our hip pocket is this. We will have you'll have Phil Neville under fire in Portland. You will have a wild goal in Bay and Spirit in the NWSL. We have a John Texter update where he's now suing. Tell me if you've heard that one before. And then you will have Casey White joining us at 10 o'clock with her analysis of what she saw in RSL and what she saw in Utah Royals in her weekend in Salt Lake City. And we'll see how pissed off Owen is that mommy wasn't home for a lot of the week. So that's another go-around of SOT. Back at SOT again, same time next week. And OG, thanks for coming by. Same for you and D. Graham. And also for Goals. who is apparently doing their show or has done their show, and they're going to bed. So, as always, thanks for dropping by, SOT, as you always do. And since it is the end of the show for yet another Monday night, we'll see you back at SDHAM 9:05 in the morning. It means we get to do this. If I can find it, I'll let you know what's going on in and around the planet. And then we will let you know what is going on in and around everything here when it comes to SOT. Mucha Platiel, play it safe. We'll catch up with you in about 10 hours.